So in session B, video 3, I want to look at staking plans. Staking plans are how you go about assigning a stake to a particular bet. And there's a number of different ways you can do this. I'm going to look at some graphs to do some analyses, and you can get these graphs yourself on the homepage of bookiebashing.net. If you scroll down, you can download this ebook that we prepared here and we put together. So I've got the ebook here. Various chapters on different topics such as benchmarking, bankroll management, what is advantage play. I'm just going to go over to the bankroll management chapter. And here we've got a description of 3 different staking plans: unit loss, unit win, and Kelly staking. Unit loss is quite simple. It's just staking exactly the same stake on every single bet. You know, a tenner at evens, a tenner at 100 to 1, tenner at 50 to 1, tenner at 1,000 to 1. So just whatever unit you want on every bet. Unit win staking is adjusting the stake so that we have the same liability no matter what the odds are. So that would be to win £200. So if it was 20 to 1, that would be a tenner. If it was 200 to 1, it would be £1. If it was evens, it would be £200. So you might think, well, that sounds quite reasonable, but unit loss sounds ridiculous. Well, unit loss does have its benefits. Let's say you want to go into a shop and put a lucky 15 on 4 different horses each way, and you've got to do that bet. You've got 15 different win bets, 15 different place bets, 30 different EVs. You've got different prices for the back odds, for the singles, the doubles. How do you come up with an adjusted unit staking for something like a lucky 15? It's very hard. So in a lot of multiples, unit loss is quite actually a useful way of staking, simply for time and efficiency, over unit win, which, you know, if it's singles, it can be worked out, but anything more complicated than singles, it's difficult. Kelly staking is quite a famous staking methodology in the world of advantage play value betting, and that is a methodology where we adjust the amount of liability we are going to bet to depending on the value, the perceived value of the bet. So I might, for example, bet to win £100 on a low value bet, and if I think it's quite high value, I might bet to win £500. And I can sort of round those numbers, or I can use an equation like Kelly stake equals EV divided by the odds minus 1. So very similar to unit win staking, where we're using the liability of the odds, but instead of just 1 divided by, it's the EV divided by. And by doing that, it allows us to stake higher for higher EV perceived value bets. Now, we have a number of trackers that we track results for at Bookie Bashing, and I have taken a historical review of the results of those trackers, and I've looked at the return on investment based on these 3 strategies: unit loss, unit win, and Kelly. And there is a pattern. Let's see if you can spot it. So here's the horse racing tracker, and the light line, the sort of whitey grey line at the top, is Kelly staking, and the blue line is unit loss, and the orangey line is unit win. And so what we see here is that our bankroll of 1,000 units grows to nearly 300 under Kelly, and it's only 100 at unit win, and it's in the middle, 200 odd at unit loss. So whilst it seems silly betting that unit loss, this is over 20,000 horses. The £10 on everything strategy actually beat the adjustment for liability strategy of the unit win. And the Kelly is the best. Having a look at the bet tracker, again, Kelly way outperforming unit win and unit loss, which are roughly similar, but yet again, unit loss is slightly higher. In the golf tracker, now Kelly and unit loss are very similar, but again, unit win is lagging behind here. So we have the last bet history here. It's a bit of a smaller one. There's only 1,000 bets here compared to the tens of thousands on the other trackers. And in this, it's quite tied between unit loss and Kelly, and unit wins at the bottom. So the pattern that we notice here is that unit win was the worst performing staking strategy, staking plan, across all 4 historical real bet histories. In 3 of the 4 trackers, Kelly would have returned the most, and in 1, which is the darts, unit loss would have returned the most. It's probably worth noting that the darts is by far the smallest sample size, and in fact, if we were to extrapolate all of these graphs further, we would almost certainly see Kelly being the most profitable staking plan amongst all of them, because it is quite renowned to be a solid strategy where you bet more with higher perceived value. And so I tend to do a form of Kelly that's quite easy. If it's a thin bet, I would bet to win maybe £1,000. And if I quite like the bet, if it's maybe 110, 120%, maybe 130% EV, I might bet to win 3,000. And then if it's a super amazing high perceived value bet, 140, 150% expected value, then at that point I might stake to bet to win £5,000. So changing your staking plan based on the perceived value of a bet has a tangible effect on the return on investment in any of the betting histories or strategies that you might be looking at.